Okay. Article 1 was the legislative branch, which is the branch that makes the laws. Article 2 is the executive branch, and what is the responsibility of the executive branch? The legislative branch makes the laws. What does the executive branch do, Dylan? They enforce the laws. Okay, so the executive branch enforces, and it says the main idea, the president and vice president are the leaders of the executive branch. Their main role is to enforce the laws. The president commands the military and makes foreign treaties with the Senate's approval. All right, we're going to go over the different qualifications of the president, how he's elected, what happens in case of removal, and the different roles that he has as president, because there's a lot of things that he does. So we're going to start with Section 1, and what I want you to take a look at on page 256 and 257, you're looking for things, qualifications to become president. We did in the House, we did the age and where they have to live and so on. So you're looking for qualifications, and I want you to look on the term of office. So you're kind of looking in Clause 1 and Clause 5. So I want you to kind of read those two clauses here, and then we'll discuss those two. So Clauses 1 and 5, if you remember what a clause is, those are the numbers underneath the section. So take a look at clauses number 1 and 5. So what would be the qualifications? Let's start with age. How old do you have to be become president of the United States? Drew?
35.
You have to be at least 35 years old. It says in there, neither shall any person be eligible to the office who shall not have attained to the age of 35 years. Okay. Residency for House and Senate, you have to live in this, you have to have been, House is 7 years. And Senate is 9 years you have to be living, right? So what about residency? How long do you have to live in the United States, PJ? 14? 14 years. After that, it says where did it say that? Oh, and been 14 years a resident within the United States. So 35 years old, must have lived within the United States for 14 years. Now, here's the next one, though. It talks about a citizen. All right. What does it say about citizenship for the president? Justin?
You must be a natural-born citizen.
Must be a natural-born citizen. Can anybody tell me what a natural-born citizen is? Jordan?
Doesn't it mean like you basically have to be born in the United States?
Yes. Or? Well, the vocabulary words on 256, it says natural-born citizen is a citizen born in the United States or a U.S. Commonwealth, which would be like Puerto Rico, or to parents who are U.S. citizens living outside of the country. So let's say mom and dad are living in Germany on a base because dad is a military guy or mom is a military lady, and mom's pregnant, and here pops out little Dawn Clark, and she's born in Germany, but mom and dad are U.S. citizens. Dawn is a U.S. citizen. She's a natural-born citizen. Mom and dad are on vacation in Canada. I don't know why mom and dad would be on vacation if she's 9 months pregnant, but mom and dad are on vacation in Canada. Out pops the little PJ, U.S. citizen. Zach?
You'd have to be surprised at how stupid people.
You're right. And they're going to be born prematurely and so on, too. So, a natural-born citizen, someone born within the United States or to parents of, Zach, or outside of the country with U.S. parents. So, the governor of California is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Does anyone know anything about him? Can he become president?
Just like something about him?
No. Can he become president?
Yes.
Why?
Because his parents were...
No. He's born in Austria. He's not a citizen. He's not a natural-born citizen. He is not allowed to become president.
Plus he's hilarious.
Okay? So, there you go. Qualifications. Must be a natural-born citizen. Term of office. How many years shall a president serve? Dylan? 4-year term. And it says terms of office that he shall hold his office during the term of 4 years. And anyone know how many terms you can serve? You should, PJ.
2.
You only can serve 2. Now, this wasn't in the Constitution for a while.
Yeah, because one president served 3.
Yes, right. Who?
I did it for in the 4th grade when that president thing.
Yeah, do you know who the president? FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And it changed after that. that they thought that that would probably... See, the reason people kept stuck with 2 terms is because after George Washington, and we'll get into this, after George Washington resigned after 2 terms, people kind of thought, George Washington, he's the leader, he was the big man, so they kind of just followed what he did and only served 2 terms, except for when FDR was president, which was during World War II, he kind of continued on, and so after that, and he was a really good president, so, but after that, then they added the amendment to change so that you can only serve 2 terms. Zach?
So this is Barack Obama's last term.
Yeah, he'll be done.
I know Mitt Romney's probably going to run again.
I think he's going to run, actually. No, he probably won't. No. Okay, let's take a look at, guys, electing the president. So on page 256, clause number 3 was the former method of electing president, and it's all crossed out because we've changed it. The way that it was before was Buddha, Page, and Logan ran for president. All right, we vote, and Logan comes in first place. He's president. Page comes in second place. That makes her vice president. Buddha comes in third. That makes her nothing. So whoever came in second prior to the clause changing, was whoever came in second was the vice president, period. Well, most times it was probably someone from a different political party, and that would cause some issues. So they changed that and they added an amendment, making the president and the vice president run as a team, okay? So they changed that. That is in the amendments. When we get to the amendments, we will talk about that a little bit more. But clause number 3, it's crossed out, but you need to know, they want to show you that it was in there. So what I want you to look at is clause number 2 on the Electoral College. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. The Electoral College, and this is kind of difficult. I'll read the whole clause out to you. It says, each state shall appoint in such matter as the legislature thereof may direct a number of electors equal to the whole number of senators and representatives to which the state may be entitled in Congress. But no senator or representative or person holding an office of trust or profit under the United States shall be appointed electors. So, let's look at the closer look. It says American voters do not choose their president directly. Members of a group called the Electoral College actually elect the president. Each state has electors. Together, they form the Electoral College. In most states, the winner usually does take all, except for Maine and Nebraska. All the electoral votes of a state go to one of the set of candidates. So, this map on page 256 is old. It's based on the 2000 census, and it shows that we have 7 electors. We don't anymore. We actually have 6. So that's an old one. So what happens first is each state has electors, and that is equal to your representatives and your senators. So how many representatives does Iowa have?
6.
Representatives. How many representatives do we have? 4. How many senators? 2. So how many electors will we have? 6. We now have 6 electors. Okay? California has 55 electors. So how many representatives do they have? 53. Senators? 2. So is California a little bit more important than Iowa because they have a lot more votes? They're worth a lot more, right? So you'll notice that during elections and things, presidents will go spend a lot of time in California, Texas, New York, Florida, Illinois, because they are worth a lot more than states like Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota. They do come to us, though, because a lot of people, we have a lot of pull because we're big in agriculture in the Midwest, and sometimes what one state does, the other Midwest states will kind of do. Zach?
I was going to say, it's like the president's been in Iowa.
Oh, they come here, but they'll spend a lot more time in a lot of the bigger states.
Like, last year he came to Davenport.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they'll come all over, actually. So, go ahead, Greg. So, like I said before, people, and P and VP, shorten it, but president, vice president. People vote for the president and the vice president as a team. Before the former method, they did not do this. What? Stop it. Then what you've got is the electors, your representatives and senators, will vote for the team that receives the majority of the votes for that state. So, and you can see the reason these states are colored here is because typically your red states are Republican states and your blue states are Democratic states typically. That doesn't necessarily mean it all the time. So let's say, let's see if my pen works. There we go. So let's say Iowa voted for Obama. The majority of the people in Iowa chose Obama. The electors will choose Obama. That's how it works. Okay? How many did you have a question?
Yo, why is your blue light on?
Because that's the default color, I believe. Alright. I'm going to show you a Schoolhouse Rocks video on the president now. Remember the Bill, I'm just a Bill video? No? Yes? Did I show you I'm just a Bill? In here? Oh, I didn't. We must have ran out of time. This is a Schoolhouse Rocks. From the 70s.
Electoral Electoral College, we got a town to tell. So what if we don't have a football team? At least we never have to write a theme. No classes, no professors, no tuition. Yet we're the goal of every politician. Cause everyone who graduates becomes a president. I'm gonna send your vote to college when you vote for president. And if you'll let me share some knowledge, you'll understand this big event. The folks who wrote our Constitution had the idea for this plan, and it's been used in our elections since our government began. When you pull down on my levers for the person of your choice, you're also choosing state electors who will have the final voice. They're called the Electoral College, and they'll need to stipulate who the voters have selected to be the winner in each state. Now the number of electors that your state is going to get is based on total population. That's the formula that's set. And when the popular vote is counted to find a winner in each state will pledge all of its electors to choose the winning candidate. I like it. I like it. Electoral. Electoral College, and we deserve it now. And even if the vote is close, and someone wins by just a little tiny hair, the electors give that person all their votes, and it's considered fair and square. I'm gonna send your vote to college when you vote for president. And now the Electoral College will work the way our founders meant. So what if they don't have a big macho football team? It's every politician's special dream. Cause everyone who graduates, yes, everyone who graduates, everyone who graduates becomes the president.
Supposed to memorize those songs and it'll help you. Okay, so that's your Electoral College, how the president is elected. So let's move on to succession. I want you to take a look at clause number 6. I want you to read through that kind of by yourself, take a look at the closer look at the top of the page, and we're going to discuss a little bit more about succession. Then, this is just succession in case of removal of president from office or his death, resignation, or inability to discharge powers and duties of the said office. Who will then become president of our country, James? The vice president. Well, for a long time, that's about it. That they didn't have anything after that said what happens if something happens to him, or who shall become vice president, and so on. It just when the president passed away, vice president became president, and there was no vice president. They now have a process where you can get yourself a new vice president and we have a whole huge list of succession, the order of how it goes, and I'm going to show you that here in a minute. I'm not going to make you write it down. Dawn?
I have a question. How does the president get removed?
He can be impeached and convicted of doing wrongdoing. Remember, we said that impeachment means accused of wrongdoing. If he is then convicted, he can be removed from office. Nixon resigned, so that would be resignation. If you take a closer look, there's a picture at the top. Vice President Lyndon Johnson was the next in line of succession. He took the oath of office after the assassination of JFK. He did this right on Air Force One, so as soon as they found out he was, gone, you need to make sure we get a president. The 25th Amendment is the amendment that sets up the exact order of that. JFK was the fourth president to be assassinated. Lincoln, Garfield, William McKinley also died at the hands of assassins. There have been 5 presidents that have survived assassination attempts: Andrew Jackson, Franklin Roosevelt, Harry Truman, Gerald Ford, and Ronald Reagan. So here is your order. Now, it goes Vice President, Speaker of the House, President Pro Tem, Secretary of State, Secretary of Treasury, Secretary of Defense, Attorney General, Secretary of Interior, Secretary of Agriculture, this guy's from Iowa, right here, Agriculture, Secretary of Commerce, Labor, Health and Human Services, Housing and Urban Development, Transportation, Energy, Education, Veterans Affairs, Homeland Security. Now, each year in January, the President gives a State of the Union address, and everybody goes. On this list, one person will not go. He will choose which person will not go, and that person will go somewhere else. They are never going to be in the same exact place at once, because if something were to happen, let's say at the State of the Union address, and someone comes and blows up the building, we have lost our line of succession. So one person will be somewhere in hiding in secret to make sure that we have at least one person that would be able to run the country. All right, so they won't ever be together. Yes, Zach?
So, the only way, really, for the Senate, Secretary of Agriculture to ever become president would be for the first 8.
Yeah, it's not going to happen, but we have an order of succession in case that were to happen. Okay? So, let's move on to the roles of the president. Take a look at page 258. As president, he has a lot of different roles. Lots of different roles, and you can see these roles all on the page of 258. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them that we're going to go through. We will start with the commander-in-chief. That is his role. As commander-in-chief, what would that put him in charge of? What does that kind of mean for him? The president's the commander-in-chief, so what would he be in charge of as commander-in-chief? If you look at the picture and the reading, it'll help you out. What's he in charge of as commander-in-chief? Dylan?
Military.
He's the military leader. So the commander-in-chief, that makes him military leader. Okay? Long time ago, President Lincoln would meet on the battlefield with the soldiers. That wouldn't happen today. It's too dangerous. But the president is our commander-in-chief, which means he is in charge of the military. Let's talk about his next role. Sometimes you will hear him referred to as the chief executive. As chief executive of our country, what does that make him? What does he do? What are some decisions and things he would make as this? Eli, what would his job as chief executive mean? Okay, so as chief executive, he makes some pretty important decisions, and that takes place usually in his Oval Office. That would be where he makes many, many important decisions. The next one, we'll go down in line on this page. Chief diplomat and chief of state. What would this have, put him in charge of? Chief diplomat and chief of state. Lena, what would that have him be in charge of?
What was the question?
Chief diplomat, chief of state.
Foreign policy maker?
Yeah, that puts him in charge of foreign policy. So he deals with other countries all the time, meetings with other countries. He deals with other countries all the time. So your chief diplomat, chief of state, puts him in charge of foreign policy. So him meeting with another person or another leader of another country, shaking hands, that's part of his responsibility. He is also the legislative leader. Colby, what would he do as legislative leader?
Sign the civil rights.
Well, sign what do you think he would sign? That's something specific. We talked about this the other day. Think about what the legislature does. The legislative leader will, as that, he signs bills, and then they're turned. And once he signs them, it becomes law. So the picture that it's showing you is Lyndon Johnson as president signing the Civil Rights Act of 1964, making that law. Okay. And the last one, head of political party. What would tell me about this? What do you think about him being in the head? What would that tell you, PJ?
Yeah, like if he's a Republican, he's the leader of all the Republicans.
Good. Leader of his party. Whatever party he belongs to, he's the leader of that party. President Obama, what party does he belong to? Ethan? He's a Democrat. So he would be leader of the Democrat. These are the two symbols for Republican and Democrat. Anyone know what's what, PJ?
The elephant is the Republican and donkey is the Democrat.
Yeah.
The Democrats are
Donkey, think about another word for a donkey, and that's why it was chosen at first. Okay? That will help you. What? Really? Okay. Drake.
Is there a symbol for like independent?
Maybe, I'm not sure. Okay, so here's the deal. What for tomorrow? Okay, I'm going to give you a quiz on Article 2. So what I'm looking for you to know is all about the president, what his roles are, how he's elected, and the qualifications, and a little about succession. I am not going to make you name all those, the order. I just want you to know immediately what's going to happen if he dies or leaves. Okay?